The cry of the universe. The stars had always been silent, but one night that silence broke. A cry spread across the galaxy, a cry so strong that it reached even the coldest corners of space. It was not the cry of one world, but of many, a wave of fear that carried from system to system. The Council of Worlds gathered in panic, their voices trembling as they repeated the same words again and again. "The universe is weeping," they said. "The darkness has come." No one knew where the enemy had come from, only that they destroyed everything they touched. Fleets of strong empires had already been reduced to dust. The predators were not just conquerors, they were devourers. They left no cities, no children, no ruins, only silence one by one. The proud empires of the galaxy fell quiet, and so the cries began, helpless voices carried by desperate transmissions. "Help us. Is there anyone left who can fight on one forgotten edge of the galaxy?" A group of council envoys whispered to each other. There was one name that none dared to speak aloud, a species that had been silent for centuries. Hidden, avoided, perhaps forgotten humans. Many thought they were extinct. Others thought they had locked themselves away. But when the cry of the universe echoed, even humanity heard it, and humanity did not ignore it. Deep inside a cold planet, an alarm rang. Warships that had slept for generations began to wake. Metal hulls groaned as if the ships were alive. Red lights turned green. Reactors roared for so long. Humanity had been quiet, but their silence was never weakness. It was patience, it was fire waiting for breath. On a distant world, a council elder asked, "Who will save us?" But another answered with fear, "Not humans, never humans. They bring only fire." Still the transmission spread, aliens pleading with invisible voices, "Help us, please help us. The predators will burn us all." The answer did come, but it was not soft. It was not gentle. It was the voice of a human commander, carried across 1,000 systems. "We heard your cries, we know your fear, we will answer. But we do not come with mercy, we come with fire." The galaxy froze. The name humanity was whispered again after centuries. Worlds that had mocked them now felt their skin crawl. Races that had never known war now trembled at the thought. Because humans were not like the rest. Humans did not beg. Humans did not hide. They burned. And when they burned, entire empires turned to ash one by one. Alien scouts reported strange signals, huge fleets rising from dead space. Warships with sharp black armor, their engines glowing like the hearts of stars. Ships carrying the old banners of Earth, their weapons unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Plasma that cut through steel, cannons that could silence suns, and yet, the greatest weapon was not their machines. It was their will, because no cry of fear had ever reached humans without being answered, and no threat had ever been met without fury. The predators far away did not notice at first. To them, humans were a myth, a story told to scare children, but myths can wake, and when they do, the universe changes. From the edge of space, the first human fleets began their march. Quiet, steady, merciless. They did not send warnings, they did not send pleas, they only carried the promise of fire. In the council chambers, fear grew deeper. One young alien asked, "Are they saviors, or are they monsters?" An elder whispered back, "Sometimes they are both." But it did not matter, because the universe had cried out and humanity had answered. Now the galaxy would see the truth, not in words, but in the fire of their warships. For the cry of the universe had been met, and humanity's reply was already on its way. The Council's fear, the Galactic Council chamber, had never felt so heavy. Dozens of alien species sat around the Great Circle, their voices breaking into panic. News of humanity's awakening spread faster than light itself. The universe had begged for help, and humans had answered, but the answer was fire. A frail creature from the Scylan race lifted its trembling hands. "We cannot trust them," it hissed. "Their history is written with blood and fire." A stronger voice cut through, belonging to a scaled warlord of the Threx. "And yet, who else will fight? Our fleets are shattered, our people are hiding. No one else dares to stand." The council chamber echoed with shouts. Some called humanity saviors. Others called them demons. Old records were dragged out. Stories of ancient human wars. Wars where entire planets burned because humans refused to bow. The silence between those stories was worse than the noise, because no one knew how much fire humanity still carried. Then the doors opened, every voice fell silent. A figure entered, tall and calm, wrapped in a plain dark uniform. A human envoy, eyes sharp as knives, voice steady as iron. "You asked for help," the envoy said, "and we answered. But we do not fight to save your thrones or your councils. We fight to end the predators. We fight because no one else will. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A thin alien asked, "What will you demand in return?" The envoy's gaze moved across the circle, and for a moment every species felt small. "We demand nothing," the envoy replied. "We take nothing, but understand this, we will not stop once we begin. Our fire will spread until the predators are ash." The words sank like stone into water. The council members looked at one another with growing fear. It was not the predators that scared them anymore. It was the humans, for they had not come as servants. Not as allies begging for place, they had come as storm. Outside the chamber, the galaxy watched. Civilizations that had never seen war saw the streams of human fleets rise. Children whispered the old name of Earth like a legend. Some cried in hope, others cried in terror. But none could look away. The predators too began to hear. Their spies returned with reports of black armored ships moving like wolves in the dark. Their leaders laughed at first, but their laughter cracked when the first patrol fleets went missing. The predators had devoured many empires, but they had never faced hunters who enjoyed the hunt. And the humans hunted with silence and precision. Back in the council, desperation rose again. "We must stop them before they burn us too," one alien shouted. "No," answered another. "We must let them fight. For if they win, the predators fall, and if they lose, nothing will remain anyway." Fear became a river, carrying them all. And above that river the human envoy stood unmoved, their voice like a blade. The universe cried for help, but help does not always come with kindness. Sometimes it comes with fire. You wanted salvation, now you will have it, whether you fear us or not. With that, the envoy turned and left the chamber, not asking for votes, not waiting for approval, because humanity had never needed permission. They did not wait for applause, they did not wait for trust. They only waited for the order to strike. And that order had already been given. The council sat in silence. Leaders who had once ruled with pride now stared at the floor. A strange realization fell upon them. They were no longer rulers of their fate. The fate of the galaxy now rested in the hands of humans. Hands that carried both fire and mercy, but chose fire first far across the stars. Humanity's warships gathered in formation. Their engines glowed like red suns. Their hulls cast shadows across moons. They did not sing songs of peace. They sang the silent hymn of war. Every ship carried a promise that the predators would learn what fear truly meant, a promise that when the galaxy cried, humanity would answer again, not with comfort, not with mercy, but with fire. The fire awakens from the dark edge of the galaxy. The silence broke again, but this time it was not a cry. It was thunder. Human warships rose from hidden docks, their black steel bodies glimmering under dying stars. They had been asleep for centuries, but now every weapon hummed with power. Their cannons stretched like iron spears. Their engines roared like beasts waking from hunger. Alien scouts watched in terror, sending reports that shook entire worlds. "The humans are moving," the report said. "Their ships are more than fleets. They are storms." Some aliens called it salvation. Others called it doom. But no one could deny the truth. Humanity had awakened. The first human fleet drifted in silence, their warships moving like predators in a dark ocean. Their formation was precise, their discipline unshaken inside those ships. Men and women stared at screens with steady eyes. No fear, no hesitation, only resolve to them. The predators were not gods, they were prey, and humans had always been hunters. The predators struck first. A massive armada appeared near the rim of a dying star system. Their ships were covered with spikes. Their weapons glowing with cruel light, they came with confidence, for no empire had ever stopped them before. But when their sensors lit up, they froze. Ahead of them waited humanity, rows upon rows of warships, silent and waiting for a heartbeat. The predators hesitated. Then their commander laughed. Ordering an attack, their fleet surged forward, weapons blazing, the sky filled with fire. But the humans did not flinch. The first shot came from a single ship, a beam of white heat that split through the enemy's lead cruiser. In one breath, a predator warship was gone. And then the rest of humanity answered. Missiles swarmed like locusts, cannons roared like gods of old. The predators' confidence shattered as their ships burst into flames. One by one, their armada broke apart. The galaxy had never seen war like this. Not chaos, not wild destruction, but fire shaped by discipline. Every human shot found its target. Every strike was merciless. Alien observers watched in silence, their eyes wide, their voices shaking. "This is not war," one whispered. "This is judgment." Because the humans did not fight like defenders, they fought like executioners. And the predators realized too late that their prey had turned into hunters far greater than themselves. The battle lasted only hours when it ended. The Predator fleet was nothing but drifting wreckage. Smoke and shattered steel floated across the system, and the humans, silent as always, reformed their lines. They did not cheer, they did not boast, they simply moved on, leaving behind ashes on distant worlds. News spread like wildfire. The galaxy trembled at the reports. Empires that had begged for mercy now begged for distance, for they understood now. Humans were not just soldiers. They were fire itself, and fire did not choose where to burn. In the council chamber, panic grew. "They will not stop," one alien leader cried. "They will burn everything in their path." But another spoke with a trembling kind of hope. "And yet the Predators are falling. For the first time in our history, they are falling." The council could not decide whether to celebrate or mourn, for with every Predator ship destroyed, humanity's shadow grew larger far away. Aboard the flagship of the human fleet, the commander stood alone. Staring at the stars beyond the glass, his voice was calm when he spoke. "The universe cried, we heard, and we answered. But the cry will not stop until the Predators are gone. We will carry this fire to every corner of the galaxy, until silence returns, until no one ever weeps in fear again." And so the humans marched on, their ships slipping into dark space, their fire burning brighter with each battle. And the universe, once filled with fear, now held its breath, for the fire had only begun to awaken. The broken Predators. The Predator Empire was no stranger to war. For centuries they had crushed worlds, feasted on the weak and ruled with terror, but now their fleets were bleeding. System after system reported silence, silence that meant human fire had passed through. The Predators who once laughed at cries of fear were now whispering in fear themselves. In the grand throne hall of the Predator Emperor, the walls shook with anger. His claws scraped against the stone as he shouted, "We are the devourers of stars. No prey has ever stood against us. Yet these humans cut through us like blades through flesh." His generals knelt, their heads lowered, none dared to speak, for every word seemed too small against the fire that humanity carried. Still one general raised his head, his voice rough. "We must gather everything. All ships, all soldiers, all weapons. If we fall as one." And so, the Predator Empire began to prepare its greatest armada. Thousands of warships forged from iron and blood, weapons designed to shatter moons, shields built from the bones of fallen foes. Their plan was simple: overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers, drown the fire in endless steel. But humanity was already watching. Their intelligence fleets moved like shadows, satellites hidden in dust clouds, spies hidden among merchants. The humans learned every movement, every plan, every whisper, and instead of fear they smiled. For humans had never believed in numbers. They had always believed in strategy, and strategy had always been their sharpest weapon. The day of the great clash arrived. A Predator armada darkened an entire sector. Their ships blocked out the stars. Their war drums roared across the void. The galaxy watched in silence. This was the largest fleet ever assembled. If humanity failed here, there would be nothing left to stop the Predators from the shadows of a nebula. The human fleet emerged, not as large, not as many, but each ship glowed with deadly calm. They did not shout. They did not roar. They simply moved forward. The Predators laughed, believing victory was certain. Their weapons lit up the darkness, but the humans did not meet them head-on. Instead, they broke apart, scattering into formations the Predators could not follow. They struck like knives, cutting into weak points. Every Predator formation collapsed under sudden strikes. Their numbers became useless, their size became a weakness. Missiles tore through their command ships. Stealth frigates slipped into blind spots. Drones swarmed through gaps the Predators never thought possible. The Predator Emperor's rage grew, his screams echoing across comms, but rage could not stop fire, and fire was all that humanity carried. Alien observers gasped as the battle unfolded. They had never seen war like this. To them, war was power against power, fleet against fleet. But humans turned war into art. Their ships moved like dancers. Their weapons struck like lightning, each strike breaking the Predator armada further, until what was once a storm became scattered sparks in the dark. At last, the Predator Emperor gave the desperate order. "Ram them, crush them with our bodies if we must." And Predator ships hurled themselves forward. But humans were ready. Minefields hidden in asteroid belts erupted. Entire Predator squadrons vanished in fire, and then humanity's largest battleship revealed itself, a giant that had slept until this moment. Its cannon charged, light brighter than suns, and with one shot, the Predator flagship split apart. Its scream carried across the stars, the Empire's pride broken in a single breath. The battle ended with silence. Thousands of Predator ships burned, Shattered or drifting without power, the survivors fled, carrying fear back to their worlds, and the humans, calm as always, reformed their lines once more. They did not chase, they did not gloat. They simply moved forward, their fire still burning. The galaxy trembled. Aliens whispered, "The predators are breaking. Humanity is breaking them." But in their whispers was another fear. For if humans could break the predators, what else could they break? The predators, once the terror of the galaxy, now knew a truth they had never imagined. They were prey and the hunters were human, and humanity had no intention of letting it die. The cost of fire victory spread across the galaxy like lightning. World after world cheered as news arrived that the predators were falling. But while aliens celebrated, humanity did not, for humans knew a truth the others ignored. Every victory had a cost, and the cost was already bleeding across the stars. Inside a human medical ship, silence ruled the halls, beds lined with wounded soldiers. Faces pale, voices weak, machines hummed softly, keeping warriors alive who had given everything. Doctors moved quickly, their eyes tired. They did not speak of glory. They only spoke of survival. In one corner, a young soldier lay still, his armor broken, his chest scarred by fire. His hand trembled as he whispered to his commander, "Did we win?" The commander, a woman with eyes sharp as steel, knelt beside him, her voice firm, though her heart broke. "Yes, we won." And with a faint smile, the soldier closed his eyes. The machines went quiet. Another name added to the long list of the dead. Humanity's fire burned bright, but that fire needed fuel, and the fuel was lives. Thousands of ships lost, thousands of men and women who would never return. Every battle left scars not only on steel, but on souls. The galaxy saw humans as unstoppable, but inside their fleets the pain was heavy. Back in the council chamber, arguments grew louder. "The humans will destroy themselves," one alien declared. "Look at their dead, they burn too fast." "Too hot." But another answered, "And yet without them, we would all be ash already." The council could not agree. Fear of the predators was fading, but fear of humanity was growing stronger aboard the flagship. The human commander stood before a wall of names. Every name belonged to someone lost in the fire. He reached out, tracing his finger against the steel, his face calm but his eyes heavy. "How many more must we lose before this ends?" he whispered. An officer beside him answered quietly, "As many as it takes." The commander nodded, but the silence around him deepened. Humans were not fighting for conquest, not for thrones. They fought because no one else would. But fighting alone carried a weight no fleet could bear forever. Still, the commander knew one truth. If humanity stopped, the universe would weep again, and that cry would never end. In a quiet moment, a message arrived from an alien world. Not a council order, not a demand, but a simple voice. A child's voice. "Thank you, humans. You saved us." For a moment, the commander closed his eyes. The cost felt lighter. The fire felt worth carrying. Because humans were not only burning predators, they were saving lives. Lives that would never even know their names. But the predators were not finished. Their broken empire still had claws. Rumors spread of new weapons, desperate experiments, fleets forged in rage, and humanity knew the worst was yet to come. Their fire had weakened the predators, but it had not ended them. The final storm was still waiting. Inside their ships, humans prepared again. Soldiers rearmed, engineers rebuilt. Mothers and fathers wrote last messages to their families. Not knowing if they would ever return, their voices carried no fear, only resolve. Because every human knew the truth. Fire was not a choice, it was survival. As the fleets gathered once more, the galaxy watched in silence. Aliens who once doubted now whispered prayers for human victory. They no longer asked for mercy. They only asked for fire to keep burning. But among humans there was no prayer, there was only duty. And that duty carried them into the dark once more. The universe had cried out in fear. Humanity had answered. But every answer carried a price. And though the galaxy could not see it, humanity carried that price in silence. Their fire burned brighter than ever. But beneath that fire was blood, sacrifice and sorrow, the cost of fire. A cost only humanity was willing to pay. The final stand, the galaxy was quiet, too quiet. The predators had vanished into the shadows, their fleets hidden, their worlds silent. But silence from predators was never peace. It was the silence before the storm, and humanity knew it. Reports came from the edges of dark space. Movement, signals, whispers of something vast. Human scouts vanished one by one, until only fragments of messages remained. They are coming. Bigger than anything before, the Predator Empire had gathered everything. Every ship, Every weapon, every monster they had built in secret. Their wounds had made them desperate, and desperation made them dangerous. This was no ordinary fleet. This was the last breath of an empire determined to drag humanity into the abyss. Aboard the human flagship, the commander studied the reports. Lines of enemy ships stretched across the void like an endless wall. It was the largest armada in recorded history. Stars disappeared behind their numbers. Their weapons pulsed with sick light. And in the center stood a colossal warship. A beast so large it carried entire cities within, the Predator Emperor's throne, the heart of the final stand. The human officers waited for orders, their faces pale but steady. They knew what was coming. The commander spoke with calm fire. If we fall here, the galaxy falls with us. If we burn so the universe can live. Every soldier nodded, not with fear but with resolve. The fleets moved into position, human warships forming a wall of steel and fire. Behind them, refugee worlds prayed. The galaxy held its breath, and then the storm broke. The Predator Armada struck like a tidal wave. Missiles screamed through the dark. Energy beams tore across space. The sky lit up with fire brighter than suns. Human ships shook, their shields flared, but they did not break. They answered with thunder. Cannons roared, drones swarmed. Stealth ships cut through enemy lines. Yet the Predators did not fall easily. Their numbers pressed harder. Every human victory was paid with another ship lost. Alien observers watched from hidden stations, their voices trembling. This is not war. This is the end of all things. To them, it looked like gods colliding, but for humanity, it was survival. Nothing more, nothing less. The Predator Emperor's ship advanced, its cannons larger than mountains. Every shot tore through human formations. Entire squadrons vanished in blinding fire. But humanity did not retreat. Instead, they moved closer to the heart of the beast inside the flagship. The commander gave a single order: focus everything on the Emperor. Human ships shifted, cutting through waves of enemy fire. Sacrifice after sacrifice, carving a path forward. One ship fell, then another, but the line did not break, because behind every fallen warrior, another stepped forward until at last, humanity's largest battleship stood face to face with the Emperor's throne. The Predator Emperor laughed, his voice booming across open channels. You are fire, yes, but fire dies when the storm is too great. The human commander answered, his voice calm as stone. Fire may die, but it always takes the darkness with it. The human battleship charged its main cannon, a light so bright it split the void. The Predator Emperor fired in return. Two titans unleashed their fury. The galaxy shook, planets trembled, and in that clash, thousands of lives ended in fire. When the light faded, silence followed. Wreckage drifted through space. Both fleets shattered, but among the ruins, one flame still burned, a human ship broken yet alive, its cannon still glowing with final fire. The Predators had given everything. But even everything was not enough. Their empire's last breath had turned into smoke, and humanity, though scarred, still stood, their fire refusing to die. The universe remembers. The smoke of battle still drifted across the stars. Broken ships floated like ghosts, their fires dimming. The Predator Empire, once the terror of galaxies, was gone, their fleets shattered, their throne silenced, their emperor reduced to ash. The war had ended, but the silence that followed carried a weight heavier than sound. Human warships, though scarred and broken, still moved in formation. Each one carried wounds, each one carried loss, yet they remained steady. For humans had learned long ago, victory was not a moment of celebration. Victory was a moment of remembrance inside the human flagship. The commander stood before a wall of names once more. But now the wall stretched endlessly. Too many names to read, too many lives gone, and yet each name was fire. Each name the reason humanity had stood when all others fell. The commander whispered softly. We carried the universe on our shoulders, and though it broke us, we did not let it fall. In the council chambers, the survivors of other races argued again. Some cried in gratitude, others in fear. They saved us, one alien said. Without them, we would all be dead. But another shook with unease. They saved us, yes, but what happens when their fire burns us too? The chamber split, voices rising, hope and fear clashing like waves against stone. But when the human envoy entered, silence fell, their uniform torn, their eyes sharp, their voice quiet. You begged for help and we answered. The Predators are gone, the galaxy is safe. They paused, letting the silence grow heavy. But understand this. Humanity did not fight for power. We did not fight to rule. We fought because no one else would, remember that? The aliens bowed their heads. some in respect, others in shame. For they had hidden while humans bled. They had whispered doubts while humans carried fire, and now, they owed their survival to the very race they once feared. The galaxy changed that day, not with borders, not with thrones, but with memory. Every child born after that war would hear the same story. The universe wept for help, and humanity answered. They did not answer with mercy. They answered with fire, and that fire saved all. Across countless worlds, statues were raised. Not of kings, not of generals, but of nameless human soldiers. Figures holding torches, flames carved in stone. Reminders that fire could destroy. But fire could also protect, and when the universe cried, humanity had chosen to protect, yet humanity did not stay to claim thrones. Their fleets withdrew. Their soldiers returned to the shadows. They left behind no empire, no chains, only a warning. Broadcast across every star system, the voice of the commander, steady and final, never again. Never let the universe fall to fear, for if it does, we will return. And our fire will return with us, and then, silence, the fleets vanished back into the dark, their engines fading like dying suns. The galaxy searched for them, but humanity was gone once more. Not conquered, not weakened, only watching. Always watching. Years later, when children asked their elders about the war, the answer was always the same. The predators came with hunger, but humans came with fire. Some told it with fear, some with hope, but all remembered, because memory itself had become humanity's legacy. And in the endless night of space, a whisper moved among the stars, a whisper that even predators could not silence. A whisper carried from world to world. The universe remembers, the universe will never forget.